Therapy. I'm Libby, and today I'm going to guide us through a short practice that's designed to be supportive of low back happiness. So really supportive of the low back and the hips. And in particular, this practice is aiming at being a psoas releasing practice. So the psoas major is a muscle that is in the front of the hips and the spine and is often problematic for people with low back pain. Not always, but it's a common culprit. And this practice is a short sequence designed to both release and nourish and support the psoas and the team of other muscles that work with it to support your low back and your pelvis. So we're going to start out with a passive psoas release. I've got two bolsters stacked on top of each other with two blocks in between. Okay, so this is kind of a prop tower that I like to use to create a position that's often known as constructive rest. This is replicated quite nicely with a couch. So if you don't have a lot of props, you can always head over to your couch and put your legs on top of the couch, in the same way that I'm going to put my legs on top of this prop tower. So once you have your props or your couch situated, just scoot up to that, put your legs on top, and let your feet be together, and just let your knees kind of flop out wherever they land. And then go ahead and rest your arms where they're comfortable. You might rest them by your sides, or maybe it's comfortable to have your hands on your belly. It doesn't matter. We're here for several minutes to just settle in for the practice. So we start with a passive release for psoas major. This is a position that actually puts your psoas muscle in a short position, but it's totally passive. So there's no strain, there's no contraction, it's just softening here. So sometimes this is called positional release. It's also known as the strain counter-strain position for psoas major. And you'll find it as constructive rest as well. As close to 90 as we can get is where we're headed here. So once you're there, just take a few releasing breaths. A big inhale through the nose. Big long sigh out the mouth to invite your body to just melt into the props, into the floor, so that the legs don't feel the need to hold themselves up at all. So this position is very important, but what's even more important is that it's passive. So my legs are fully resting on the support underneath them. Okay? And as you rest here, go ahead and scan your body from head to toe and just be curious about what you find along the way. So use your awareness as your scanner. You can start at the top of the head and just take several breaths. Take your time to scan all the way through the body, all the way down to the bottoms of your feet. And there's nothing in particular that you're looking for as you scan your body. You're just taking on an attitude of curiosity to see what's here at the beginning of this practice. What areas of the body feel tense or uncomfortable? What areas feel really free and easy? No judgments, no expectations. And once you've scanned your whole body, link your attention now to the breath and really just begin to follow it. So as you inhale, find out how far your inhale can go comfortably. And on your exhale, find out how far it can go comfortably. So you're wanting to get all the way to the ends of each part of the breath, all the way to the top of the inhale, maybe even lingering for a moment there. And then travel all the way to the very bottom of the exhale, maybe even lingering for just a moment there. So we're cultivating a steady breath pace, long and steady. As you cultivate that breath for yourself, invite there to be an expansion with the inhale in all directions through the center of your body.
that includes the belly and the waist and the lower back, but also includes the lower part of your rib cage all the way around. So if there was going to be an epicenter of expansion, let it be the lowest part of your ribs. Let that area expand in 360 degrees around the body as every inhale outward and then every exhale, feel how the body comes back inward to its center. I'll let you cultivate that breath for just maybe 5 more breaths here. You might notice that the longer you stay with this breath, the more that it changes. It might become slower and deeper or longer. Though we don't need to force it to be anything different than what it is. As you finish the breath that you're on, just gently bring your knees in toward your chest. Give them a hug and just gently rock side to side on your lower back. From here, you can move your props out of the way. So I'm just going to move my props over to the side. If you're on your couch, just bring your legs off of the couch and come onto your yoga mat. So I want you to have space on your mat to stretch the whole body long. Stretch the whole body out long. Reconnect with that breath once you're here. And on your next inhale, let your arms float up towards the sky, back towards the wall behind you, like a big morning stretch. Get really tall through the body. As you exhale, hug the right knee in toward your chest. You could hug it in with your hands. Just bring it in as far as it feels good to go. As you inhale, stretch your body long. Once again, stretching tall, 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 reaching heel bones and fingertips. Exhale the left knee in toward your chest. And you're here to move at your own pace a couple more times on each side. So every inhale just takes you into that long, full body stretch. Every exhale hugs one knee in toward your chest. Starting to warm up the whole body. Starting to investigate the low back, the hips, and warm the psoas as it helps to bring your knee toward your chest. Okay. 2 more breaths. As you exhale, see if you can move from the low belly, hugging in. Let that be something that helps bring the knee in toward your chest. Good. Last inhale, stretch long, long, long. This time as you exhale, just float your arms, both arms down by your sides. Good, and bend your knees. I'm going to set up for some work with the bridge pose. I'm going to use a couple props just to show you one of my favorite ways to work with the bridge pose. If you don't have props, that's okay. I'll give you some modifications. But if you have a block, place the block in between your thighs. And if you have a strap, make a loop in your strap like so that you can place the loop around your thighs. So I have my strap just above the knees, and I have my block just above that. So I'm set up, I'll show you so that you can see the setup. I have my setup just like so, block, strap, and it's tightened down so that I can hug my block, I can press my thighs out, and everything kind of stays put. Okay, that's our setup for bridge. If you have props, we'll begin by hugging the thighs in towards the block. Now, if you don't have a block, then place your feet and your knees all the way together and hug them in toward each other. Okay, so that's the modification if you don't have a block. Just everything right up together, pressing in towards the midline. All right, so wherever you are with that squeeze inward, inhale to press into your feet and lift your hips. We'll inhale up and exhale to come back down. We're going to do that movement several times. Please know that it doesn't matter how far you lift. How high you lift is up to you. I like to bring my arms along for the ride. Inhale, lift, and reach arms up. Feel free to do that. Exhale, everything comes back down to meet the ground at just the very same time. So we're really working on coordinating body and breath as tightly together as we can. Still hugging the block, exhaling down. Following your own breath pace, that breath that you spent several minutes cultivating at the beginning of our practice. We're still letting it guide the way. Let the body ride the wave of that breath. One last bridge, hugging the midline. As you exhale to come down this time, just take a moment to pause. If you have the block and the strap, now press your thighs out into the strap. So you're just changing the direction of your hips and the action of the hips. If you don't have the props, no big deal. Your feet are together. Go ahead and heel toe them apart once and then heel toe them apart another time. So your feet are going to be wide apart, maybe almost the width of your mat, and your knees will be out as well. So the knees land over the ankles. So it's just a wide stance for your bridge. It's a lovely way to do the bridge pose if you don't have the strap, okay? So either wide stance or pressing out. We'll continue. Inhale to lift the hips. Exhale to lower the hips. Take your arms with you if you would like. We're here to explore what's different about the bridge pose when we press our thighs out or when you're in that wide stance. What changes in the quality of sensation that you feel in your body? I will give you this tip. If you're feeling some low back discomfort when you're bridging, my recommendation is to try two things. First of all, try to not lift quite so high. Very often people get into some discomfort when they're trying to make their bridge as tall as possible. Just let your bridge be low or medium and see how that feels. The other thing that often helps is to ask your glute muscles to really help you out here. This is really their job. Gluteus maximus, your butt muscles, should really be the main thing lifting you into the bridge. So you might ask them to help a little bit more by squeezing them a bit and see how that feels to your lower back. It's often very helpful. Good. This time as you lift up into your bridge, go ahead and stay there. I'm going to exhale my arms down to rest by the sides. I like to scoot my shoulder blades in toward each other a little bit and hang out here. Now if you have the strap and the block, we're going to inhale to press your thighs out a little bit more. Stay lifted as you exhale to hug your block. We'll take several breaths like that. If you don't have the strap and the block, you can stay in your wide stance of bridge and just enjoy your breath while you're there. Right? But the strap and the block, we're working each breath. Inhale to press out. And exhale to hug the block. And let's just take one last breath. Inhale to press out. This time as you exhale to squeeze, also go ahead and lower yourself all the way down. And when you arrive here on the floor, just take a moment to feel the kind of reverberation of sensation in the body from that work with the bridge pose. Good. And then go ahead and take your props away. So you put your block to the side, put your strap to the side, and hug your knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Check in with your lower back, rocking side to side, noticing how that feels. Good. When you're ready, bring your feet to the floor and separate your feet wide apart so that they're the width of your mat. You can have your arms out in a T, or you can have your arms overhead, wherever they're comfortable. We're going to start to let the knees drop left and right for some windshield wipers. So you can just Let your knees move side to side as far as it's comfortable to go. The wider apart your feet are, the more rotation you'll start to feel in the hips. So you can adjust your feet as needed to get just the right amount of twisting through the hips. And you'll also notice that sense of rotation as it moves up into the lower back and all the way up the spine. You might even notice a little bit of tugging through the head and the neck. So just let the whole body enjoy this rocking side to side. You can inhale your knees one way and exhale your knees the other way, just to continue that sense of linking body and breath, that sense of the body riding the wave of breath. And the next time that your knees move over to the right side, go ahead and leave them there, just if it's okay on your knees. Now, with the knees to the right, I like to bend my left knee a little bit more deeply and place my left foot beside my hip so the toenail side is down to the floor. If you would like to try that, feel free, as long as your knee says that's okay. So we never want any sharp discomfort around a joint. Okay, so pay attention to your knee. And if that feels okay, then settle in. I like to take my left arm overhead to encourage some lengthening through the left side of the body in the front. And I like to take my right hand, place it just on the low belly here, on the left side, the waist and the low belly. And as we settle here, see if you can breathe into your right hand. So get some expansion down into that left low belly, left waist. And the hand just makes a nice target for your breath. Helps you to bring awareness and expansion right into that area. So we're here at the part of the practice where we're actually inviting the psoas muscle to lengthen. We've done a passive psoas release that we began with. We've done a little warming movement of knees to chest. We did an active release for psoas major, which is the work with the bridge pose. Because as we activate the muscles in the back of the body, the lower back and the gluteus maximus, those muscles help to inhibit psoas major. So when we activate the back side of the body, we invite the front side of the body to release. That's why we call it an active release. And after all of those steps, now we're here to invite some lengthening into the psoas major. Just take one last breath here. And then as you're ready, bring yourself back to center. Take a moment in between sides to bring the knees in towards your chest. We'll take a few breaths here. Inhale, as if you could stand on the ceiling, reach your arms overhead, reach the heel bones up. Exhale, hug your knees. Let's take just 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, stand on the ceiling, arms overhead, and exhale to hug. Last breath. As you return, this time, bring feet to the floor, nice and wide, and this time we'll take the knees over to the left. Again, you may find plenty of stretch here with the knees, just like so. If you would like, you can bend the right knee a little more deeply and place the toenail side of the foot down beside your hip and be there, only if the knee says that that's okay. So we're settling into this sense of length all the way from the kneecap up, the whole body, maybe even up to the fingertips. And so I like to reach my right arm overhead. And then once again, I'm going to bring my left hand to my right low belly and waist and invite that to be a target for my breath. So I'm going to breathe some inhales right into that hand, bring some expansion there. And in that way, we can invite the breath to be a stretching aid. So helping to stretch the tissues in the lower abdomen and the front of the hip, which is right where psoas major lives in your body. So enjoy several more breaths here. Come back to an inquiry about how long your inhale can be and how long your exhale can be. Maybe enjoy 2 last breaths on this side. And then when you feel complete on this side, go ahead and bring yourself back to the center. When you get there, hug both knees in towards your chest. And we'll take one last set of standing on the ceiling. Okay, so inhale, stand on the ceiling, arms overhead. Exhale to hug. 2 last breaths just like that. Just to kind of reset everything after that little bit of twist and front body opening. One last breath. And exhale, hug the knees. Maybe even bring forehead up toward your knees. Then we're ready for just a couple moments of relaxation at the end of our practice for Psoas release. Now, as you stretch out into Shavasana, feel free to be flat out on your back or feel free to bring some props underneath you, just as we began our practice. So a couple good options are, number 1, to bring a bolster under the knees, just like so. Can feel very nice. Number 2, you could restack your props if you like that passive Psoas release that we started our practice with. You can bring your props back up and enjoy a couple last moments here. So again, feet are together and the knees just flop out. Okay, so get yourself situated in a way that just feels nice for you. That's the only rule about final relaxation. Couple releasing breaths to help you settle. Then take this time for yourself to enjoy a little bit of inwardness and quiet and stillness, where there's nothing at all to do, but just be with what arises here at the end of the practice, to notice inward without judgment, without expectation, but just with curiosity, with interest, noticing your own experience. I'll allow you to stay here for another minute or 2, and then I'll bring you back with the sound of the bell to wrap up our practice. So for now, just enjoy this time. So I invite you right where you are to just begin to bring some deeper breaths in and out of the body. Let those breaths
Start to bring some movement back into the body as you're ready. Maybe some wiggling of fingers and toes or stretching of arms overhead. And just over the next few breaths, take your time to ease out of that final relaxation place. Eventually bending both knees and rolling to one side, and then pressing your way up to a seat. We'll close this practice seated. I invite you to sit on something for support. I'm on a bolster here. You might sit on a bolster or a couple folded blankets. Something to give your spine some ease as it comes to an upright position. When you arrive there, close your eyes and just listen inward for our last couple moments. Be curious about what's here at the end of practice. You can take a moment to notice the quality of sensation in the body, the quality of the breath, the quality of the mind, and the quality of the heart. Just noticing all of what it feels like to be you in this moment. We'll bring palms together at the heart center and bow the head slightly towards the heart. Take a moment to honor yourself, offering some gratitude to yourself for making space for practice today to support and nourish your body, your mind, and your heart. And as always, it's such an honor to practice with you. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste. And as always, if you're interested in learning more about my work, you can head over to my website at libbyhinesley.com.